topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Tennessee, the beautiful state of Tennessee. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We have got a great show for the next 25 minutes. I think this show that we do with Randy Hall of Independent Medicare Brokers, Mr. Nice Guy, I think him and I have like the best banter. I mean, we could go on forever, and his show goes by so fast. And Medicare is so important. I'm on Medicare. I love Medicare. I think it's the greatest thing I invested in with the government. And one of the things I'm trying to get across on this show, it is so important to have a good agent represent you, because I know what it's like to have a bad agent here in Florida that represented me. Let me welcome to you my friend, Randy Hall.
Welcome, Steve-O. Good morning from Franklin, Tennessee. How are you?
How far is Franklin from Nashville?
About 20 minutes north as the crow flies, give or take.
So it's almost like a suburb, right?
Yeah, I mean, it basically is a suburb of Nashville. That's essentially what it is.
You cover all of Tennessee, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm statewide. So whether you're in Memphis or Knoxville or anywhere in between, I can help you. And it's important to have a local agent if at all possible, because we understand not only the plan designs in terms of like the copays and benefits, but we also know what networks work with which plans. Where you could talk to somebody who's in a call center somewhere, be it Florida or Zimbabwe, and they just look at a sheet and all they see is numbers. They don't know how it actually works out in the community. So when you're working with somebody local, or at least somebody in the same state as you, they're going to know, hey, if I have XYZ company, is it going to work with my doctors?
Randy, I love the name of your company, Mr. Nice Guy Medicare Advisors. It is so apropos to you. Tell people about your company.
Well, so I originally started in 2010. Back in the day, I had a very generic name, RWH Insurance Solutions, which that could be literally anything in terms of insurance. And the idea back when I did that was I might do more than Medicare. But as time went on, I just found I just knew Medicare the best, and I liked the people, and I was doing real well with it. You know, I think I said this last show, I didn't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none. So one day my wife says to me, Randy, your name, it's so generic. I mean, I was like, yeah, it kind of is. She goes, well, you should maybe change the name to something with Medicare. I mean, you're a nice guy. And as soon as she said that, it was like a flash of inspiration. I was like, Mr. Nice Guy Medicare Advisor? And she was like, yeah, that sounds good. And if you knew my wife, you know that if she didn't like the name, she would have made it abundantly clear not to do that. But no, I mean, it was just like one of those things. It just came to me, and I redesigned everything. And I think it's 2017, and I've been Mr. Nice Guy Medicare Advisor ever since.
So, Randy, because we get people asking us, do you also handle healthcare too, besides Medicare, or just Medicare only?
So Medicare and a little in life insurance. I do life insurance too, but I got out of the selling major medicals, what they call anything that's health insurance that's not Medicare based. It's called major medical. I got out of that, and I'll tell you why. I was trying to sell it for a short time, a couple of years there, and I was having more complaints from the few people that I had on major medical than the hundreds that I had on Medicare combined. And it seemed to me that the whole game of major medical is to get out of paying claims, which pains me. So like, I'm not in the business of putting people on products that give them problems. I try to be a problem solver, not a problem giver. And so I'm like, what they're paying me, it's just not worth the hassle. So I partnered with people who do that. So, if I get a husband and a wife and one of them's older and not ready, one of them's going on Medicare and one of them's not on it yet, I can give them to somebody I trust that I know will look after their other spouse until they're on Medicare, and then I can help them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I got to tell you, you do so much behind the scenes work that people don't understand, that makes it easier for them.
Right.
Having a good agent is so important. So, and I want people to know, and Randy is great because you have a lot of different companies you represent, not just one, correct?
Right. Basically, if a company will let an independent agent work with them, they're not a captive agency, I go out of my way to sell it. I'll get contracted with that company. I'll learn their products. And one thing a good agent is supposed to do, and that I pride myself on doing, is I'm like a claims person for you. If you have a problem, I'm going to do my best to either try to solve it directly, or if they won't let me, sometimes there's HIPAA laws and they won't let me be directly solving problems, I'll try to get them in touch with the person who can solve it. So what we do is, if I sign you up on a plan and you're like, Randy, they're not paying this claim, you can call me up and I get to the bottom of it. So that's really what an agent's supposed to do. And the other thing that we do is every year we'll review if you're on an Advantage plan in particular, is we'll review what you have. Number one, I'll ask if you like it, because sometimes it doesn't go the way I think it's going to go. But if you like your plan, I'll tell you if there's anything better than that. If not, I'll just tell you to ride it out, keep it up. But every year you'll know that I considered it. I looked at it. I didn't just assume if that checks out with you.
Well, I think about these national commercials with the celebrities, and you call that company is only going to give you what they offer. Whereas with you, you're going to show them different plans so they can make the best choice.
Well, I care about them. So I'm not loyal to any company, man. I'm loyal to my customer. That's what it really comes down to. So any advice I ever give anybody, I don't care what it is, it's what I would do if I was you, but knowing what I know about yourself that you tell me. Everybody's got biases and preferences. And if you tell me what your biases and preferences are, I take that all into consideration. And then I try to give you, the best options for what you're wanting and looking for. And I explain it to them. I don't force anything on anybody. I'm like, oh, this is it. And does this sound good to you? So if you do the right thing over and over again, you don't have to worry about what you said before, because you told them what you knew to be true in the beginning.
Exactly. So customer service is so important to you. And that was like one of the first things I noticed when our first conversation is, because we had a lot of agents wanting this show. Customer service really means a lot to you.
Well, to me, customer service is what differentiates me from the person calling you on the phone. I mean, the thing is, I don't know, you probably get these calls from these robocallers, don't you, Steve?
Yes. Oh, God, yes.
I'm telling you, I'm not even on Medicare. I'm 50 years old. I'm far away from Medicare. I kid you not, 10 robocalls a day, every day. And if I have time, I try to see what their tactics are. And the thing that's really scary to me, though, is some of these calls, they say, oh, yeah, we're just calling to check your benefits. And that almost sounds like if you were an older person and confused, you might think it's the actual insurance company calling to
Yes.
make sure. I mean, so like you got to watch these people and their tactics, because they'll be like, yeah, we want to check your benefits and blah, blah, blah. And I'll get as far as I can. And at a certain point, they figure out this, they'll usually hang up on me. But I've gotten pretty far down the line. And I can tell you this, if I did what these people are doing and I got caught doing it, they'd take away my license.
Yes.
I mean, that's how bait and switch these people are. And I find it highly offensive that they're basically trying to find people who either are ignorant, or let's face it, a lot of the older people are senile.
Exactly.
So they're trying to take advantage of people when they need the help the most. And that's one thing, like I would rail against that with every fiber of my being.
Well, it's funny you said that, because I had a robocall that said, we can give you a $2,000 a month grocery allowance.
$2,000 a month?
That is crazy.
No.
And so I pushed the button to talk to him, and I said, how do I get my $2,000 a month grocery allowance? Because I don't have that. Oh, that's not really true. And you probably are in the wrong county. And basically, they just lie to you.
Yes.
And, you're dealing with the demographic, Randy. Let's face it, it's an older demographic.
Right.
And gosh, they feel like they can just tell you anything. And it's so sad. That's why having a good agent like yourself, and we learned so many new things from you, Randy, on what's going on. And one of my questions is about inflation and how it's affecting Medicare overall. Can you talk on that?
Absolutely. It's hitting us from all angles, like most Americans in most sectors. You notice it with your grocery bill. You notice it when you go out to the movies. You notice it when you go to the mall and you want to buy stuff. Well, guess what? You're gonna notice it in your Medicare plan, unfortunately. Whether you have a Medicare supplement, whether you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you will have Part D on either a Medicare supplement, or you'd have a standalone drug plan with a supplement. Well, so what I've noticed, especially with Medicare supplements this year, is they are normalizing 20% or more rate increases. Now, I've been a Medicare person since 2007. I actually started in 3 years before I became an independent agent. I worked for a company. So I've been in Medicare going on 20 years here. And throughout time, it used to be 5 to 10% rate increases on these supplements. Now, I kid you not, I've seen 4 or 5 companies take 20% or more rate increases. These are companies like United Healthcare that have always had real stable rates take these absurd rate increases, like Blue Cross Blue Shield. Some of them are going up astronomically in a very short period of time. So it's not you. If you noticed, just so you know, consumers out there, if your Medicare supplement bill went way up, you can always call me and say if I could save you money if you're in Tennessee. But it's not insane for people to be taking on these 20 to 25% rate increases. So be aware of that. And then in terms of you and I were talking before we came on here, they just had the final rule where they set things like how much they're going to increase the rates to doctors, reimbursement rates, how much like your Part D, the minimum that they call your maximum out of pocket's going to go up a little bit. That's not so bad. I mean, right now it's $2,100 for this year. Next year it's slated to go up slightly, another $100 or $200. That's not a big deal. Right. But what you are probably going to notice if you're on an Advantage plan in the next year or two, is you're not going to see these like $3,000 dental allowances. Like what you're going to see is that some of the copays will go up, like from say
Yes.
you got a specialist copay of $20. It may go up to 25. It may go up to 30. If you got a hospital copay of say $300, it may go up to like $350. And instead of being for up to 5 or 6 days, it may go up to 7 or 8 days. These are because their reimbursement rate was only 2.48%, which is nowhere near what medical inflation is. So what I'm saying is these companies say, like you've got Humana as a good example. They're only going to pay Humana 2.4% more to the doctors that accept Humana. So they're going to something's got to give. And it's usually the consumer. It's usually the consumer that gives. So
it's already started, Randy, with me, because 2 years ago I got glasses. There was no copay at all, and
really?
That's a pretty big. I mean, $600-700 for the eye exam and the glasses. This year, 2 months ago, same exact thing, $150 copay.
Oh, so
same exact thing.
So was that your allowance, or is that what you had to pay them?
I had to pay them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So here, the way that they do it around here is they give you what they call an allowance. That's what I was asking.
That's what I used to have 2 years ago, but I don't have that anymore. There's no, I get $30 a month for groceries, which nowadays
you're in Florida.
Yes.
So Florida actually has some of the best advantage plans in the nation. So what's available to you will vary by state. Here in Tennessee, we're better than average. Like we've got better than average plans. But when somebody moves here from like a Florida or Arizona, and that's happened to me a few times, and I start showing them advantage plans around here, they're like, "We don't get groceries?" I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You got to be on Medicaid to get groceries usually around here. But that being said, there's one plan with Humana that does give groceries but you got to have a chronic condition. I don't know. This is a law that changed this year. So even if you have a plan with groceries on it, you'd have to have a chronic condition to get the grocery part. So if you're quote unquote too healthy, even if your plan has the grocery part, they'll convert it to just over the counter instead. But again, if you ever have any questions about your plan or anything like that, and you just want to talk to me, I don't charge anything. You can call me or write me, whatever you see fit.
Yeah, usually I call Randy when I want to know who cuts his hair, because I'm always looking for somebody new.
The DIY.
Hey, Randy, one other thing I want to get in, we only have a few minutes left.
Sure.
The demographics that you deal with, I got to tell you, I get so much mail from Humana.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to look over it, and I got to tell you, I just got tired of looking at something that just doesn't do anything for me. But there's companies that are pulling out of counties.
Yes.
And if you don't read those, you don't know. And that's why it's so important to have an agent like yourself, because these companies are pulling out, aren't they?
Yeah. So they call it a plan termination. And usually they'll tell you if you have a plan that's being terminated, they'll usually tell you like in October. And I've come across a few people this year. In fact, one of them was my neighbor. She was on a plan that had been terminated and she had not seen it. So she calls me during January. I wasn't her agent yet. She calls me and she's like, I was on this. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the plan, but it starts with a U and ends with a C. She was on a plan with them and they just terminated it. And she's like, I went to the drugstore and they said I didn't have any drug coverage. And I saw you were in my neighborhood, so I called you. So anyway, if I had people on that plan, and guess who called them in October as soon as I could to say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Taylor, this plan is going away. So we got to either put you on a new one or you get a when you lose a plan, you can actually get a Medicare supplement without underwriting. So say you were a sicker person and you wanted to get on a supplement, you could do it if they term your plan. So all that to say is the people that I had that were affected, and we had 4 in my county that I know of, at least 4 here. I called them all, and I didn't lose any of them because guess what? I reached out to every single one of them, and they took it seriously, and now they're on something new, something better. In most cases, it was a better situation than they had before.
Randy, how do people reach you?
The best way is if you look on the bottom of the screen, 615-578-5174. That's my direct line. That's my cell. So if you ever want to talk to the man, the myth, me, that's the best way to do it. But you can also email me if you prefer email. I'm at randywhall@yahoo.com. Don't laugh. That's the email I've had since I've been in college, and believe it or not, it's the one that works best. I have a website. It's www.mrnice NICE guy GUI Medicare MEDICARE advisor ADVISOR.com. And there's a lot of free information on there. And if you are so curious, I do write articles that you can read. I try to put our show on there so people can watch it.
Very good.
It's a lot of good stuff on there.
Yes. Hey, Randy, thank you so much. Randy's with us every month. The viewers, I want to thank the viewers. I looked at Randy's numbers the last 2 months, amazing numbers. And thank you for writing your questions in. Bro, grow some hair, okay, for our next show. Only I can say that, right?
I know, it's like bald knows bald. We're part of the Bald Brothers Brotherhood.
Absolutely.
So, live it up.
Love you, bro. We'll see you next month.
You're the man, Steve-O. See you next time.
No, you're the man.
You're the man.
That's Randy Hall. Folks, don't try to do this yourself when it comes to Medicare. Give Randy a call. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back in with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.